Hi everyone, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me today. And just before I get started, a quick shout out to a newish channel. Channel's called Back in the Groove. Guy's name is Keith. He's from the northeast of England. Seems like a really nice fella. Got a great collection, which unbelievably he's had in storage for 25 years and just got it out and is sharing it. So really good channel. Pop over to his channel. I'll put a link in the description below. I think he's got about 500 plus subs at the moment, so he's done really well. So some really interesting stuff he's shown. If you like sort of rock music and so on, you're going to love his channel. So welcome to the vinyl community, Keith. Keep up the good work, fella. Okay, so today I'm going to continue with my series of favourite five, where I share my favourite five albums, songs, deep tracks, singles, or whatever from any one band or artist. Today the choice is AEROSMITH, band from Boston. Now, spoiler alert, I'm not going to include their 80s and 90s stuff. I just find it too clean and overproduced. This is wholly 70s material, when I think they were a good kind of dirty rock and roll band. So I've got my favourite five albums, my favourite five live tracks, and my favourite five songs by them. So let's do albums first. At number 5, Get Your Wings from 74, I think this is, on CBS Records. Good second album, a real step up from the debut. Better in terms of songwriting and production. Same Old Song and Dance is great. Spaced is great. Lord of the Thighs. SOS, Too Bad, good song. They do a version of Train Kept a Rolling, and a song called Seasons of Wither is a good song as well. So that's at number 5. At number 4, the last album to feature Brad Whitford and Joe Perry before they temporarily left the band in about 1980. This is from 79. It's called Night in the Ruts. Good album. The opening track, No Surprise, is great. Cheesecake's a good song. Bone to Bone is good. They do a version of Remember Walking the Sand by the Shangri-Las, which is very forgettable, but really good album. That's number 4. At number 3, some people might be surprised not to see this high. This is Rocks from 76, is this? I think 76. Nice textured sleeve. This is seen as a classic AEROSMITH album for lots of reasons. Back in the Saddle, Last Child, good funky song. Rats in the Cellar, a good up-tempo rocker. Sick as a Dog's a good song. Nobody's Fault, Licking a Promise, really good album from 76. At number 2 is the first album I ever bought by. I remember reading about AEROSMITH in Sounds and going out and buying this album. I remember buying it in W.H. Smith's in Poole High Street, and it's Draw the Line. And I remember drawing that particular picture and having a big version of that on my wall that I did. I love it. And I really like this album. I love the title track, Draw the Line. It's brilliant. I Want to Know Why is a good song. Critical Mass. Song on here called Bright Light Fright, which is sung by Joe Perry, who can't really sing that well. He's okay. That's a good song though. Kings and Queens is good. Sight for Sore Eyes. And I love their version of Milk Cow Blues as well. I think I've always really liked that. So that's Draw the Line from 77 at number 2. At number 1, this is probably my favourite album by them. These do vary a little bit, I must admit. They're quite interchangeable, but this has probably consistently been my favourite album. Toys in the Attic from 75, so 50 years old this year. This has got, the title track is great. Uncle Salty's good. Adam's Apple, Walk This Way. I don't think I need to hear that song. Good funky number, brilliant riff. I wish I'd written it. It's the song that they did later on in the kind of 80s with Run DMC that kind of resurrected their career, really. Big 10-inch record, their version of that with lots of double entendres. Sweet Emotion, fantastic. No More is a brilliant song. I love that. And so that's Toys in the Attic from 75. So there's the... my favourite albums. Let's do live tracks, and they predominantly come from one source, and that's this album, Live Bootleg. I remember buying this in 78 when it came out. I love this album. I always have liked this album. I love the look of it. It's Live Bootleg. They were a band that were heavily bootlegged, and they tried to kind of beat the bootleggers by having a lot of stuff on there that maybe would have featured on bootlegs. Some of it is a little bit bootleg quality, some of the very early stuff, but it has a certain charm to it, which I really like. And there's some great songs on here. So Sick of the Dog, as a Dog, is number 5 in terms of my live tracks. A great version of that. I'm going to go to this album next for number 4, actually. This is an album that came out, I think, in the 80s, late 80s, I think. Classics Live. There was a Classics Live 2 as well. But this has got a couple of songs from the version of the band that features the replacements for Brad Whitford and Joe Perry. That is Jimmy Crespo and Rick Dufay. And they do a live version of 3 Mile Smile, Reefer Headed Woman, which are 2 songs that feature back to back on Night in the Ruts. And it works really well on here. And so that's a really good version of those 2 songs together. featuring the two members who only played on one album, Rock and a Hard Place. But a really good version of that. That's 3 Mile Smile, Reefer-Headed Woman from Classics Live. That's at number 4. Back to this album for number 3. And it's a song which is very Stonesy. I think it's very Stonesy anyway. And they had a bit of a look of the Stones a little bit, didn't they, Aerosmith? And the song is called Chip Away the Stone, which is a Richie Super song. It's a great song. I think there's a studio version on this box set, actually. But this is obviously a live version, and a really good live version. That's at number 3. At number 2 is the song that comes just before it on this album. And it's the first time I'd heard this song, and it's one of their classic songs. And the song is Dream On, a song written by Steven Tyler many years previously. I think when he was quite young, he wrote that song. I think it's a beautiful song, and I've always loved the live version of it that features on Live Bootleg. So that's number 2, Dream On. And at number 1, and I like all the versions I've heard of this song live. I love this song live. It's brilliant. It's a showcase for Brad Whitford, who traditionally is seen as their rhythm guitarist, but I think he's a really good lead player. And the song is called Lord of the Thighs. Now, I love the version on this album, Live Bootleg, which is recorded in 78, I think. There's also a 78 version of there, which comes from the Texas Jam, which is really good. And there's also a live version of it on here as well, which is also really good. So my favourite live track by Aerosmith is Lord of the Thighs, in whichever incarnation you can find it. Okay, let's look at songs now. So at number 5 is the lead-off song from this album, Night in the Ruts, and it's No Surprise. It's a great song. It's got a great kind of melody to it. I love the riff in it. Tremendous. That's my number 5. At number 4 is the title track from this album, Draw the Line. It's not dissimilar to No Surprise, if I'm honest. It's got that driving riff, great slide guitar. It's just a brilliant song. Draw the Line, title track from the 77 album, Draw the Line. That's at number 4. At number 3, going to my favourite album by them, or at least possibly my favourite album by them, Toys in the Attic. And it's a song, Sweet Emotion. I've probably overheard it. I love the live version of it as well, but it's got a great riff and it's just a brilliant song. And that's my 3rd favourite Aerosmith song. At number 2, I'm going to their debut. I'm going to their debut album, and it's a song that closes off side 1. I've always loved this song. It's called One Way Street. It's just brilliant. It's just like a bit of authentic rhythm and blues. It's fantastic. And that's my 2nd favourite Aerosmith song. And my favourite Aerosmith song comes from this album. And it's the song that opens. It's just, for me, if you were to describe, just give me one tune that is quintessential Aerosmith, it's the opening track from Get Your Wings, Same Old Song and Dance. I just think it's brilliant. It's got a great riff, it's melodic, it's just really well performed, a really little tight, dirty little rock and roll song. Love it. Anyway, there's my favourite 5 for Aerosmith. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'm sure I'll be back sometime with another video. Cheers.